October 15, 1985. Salt Lake City's peace was shattered by a deadly explosion. A package bomb killed Steve Christensen, a respected businessman. Hours later, another bomb killed Kathy Sheets, wife of Christensen's former employer. 2 bombs, 2 victims, one day. The city was gripped by fear and confusion. Was this business revenge or something deeper? Detectives scrambled for answers, but the clues led nowhere. The victims' only clear link: both were connected to rare Mormon historical documents. Later, a third bomb exploded, this time in a car. The third victim, Mark Hofmann, a dealer of rare Mormon documents. Was Hofmann another target or something else? Suddenly the investigation shifted. The city's mystery was no longer just about bombs, it was about secrets, lies, and the dark side of faith. The man in the car, Mark Hofmann, held the key. His story would unravel a web of deception that reached the highest levels of the Mormon Church. The bombings weren't random, they were the desperate acts of a man whose lies were about to be exposed. Salt Lake City would never be the same. The city of saints had become a city of secrets. And the truth was more shocking than anyone could have imagined. The investigation was just beginning, and the real story was about to explode. Mark Hofmann seemed ordinary. A family man, a returned Mormon missionary, a lover of history. But beneath the surface, he was a master forger. Hofmann could mimic handwriting, age paper, and create documents that fooled even the experts. His forgeries rewrote Mormon history and made him famous, and rich. As a teenager, he'd already fooled coin collectors. After his faith faltered, he targeted the Mormon Church, knowing it would pay for documents that supported, or threatened, its story. Hofmann's genius was in creating what people wanted to find. He invented stories of miraculous discoveries, a lost letter in an old Bible, a rare document at an estate sale. His forgeries were so convincing even church leaders believed him. They paid him hundreds of thousands for treasures that challenged or confirmed their faith. Hofmann wasn't just a criminal, he was a performer, selling stories as much as paper and ink. He thrived on the thrill of deception, always staying one step ahead. But his web of lies grew larger and harder to control. The church, historians, and collectors all trusted him. No one suspected the truth. The golden boy of Mormon history was secretly mocking the very institution that made him rich. Hofmann's double life was about to unravel. The stakes were rising, and soon his forgeries would lead to murder. The quiet man with the rare documents was at the center of a storm, and Salt Lake City was about to learn just how dangerous a lie could be. Mark Hofmann's story was only beginning. The world would soon know his name, for all the wrong reasons, and the cost would be deadly. Hofmann's first big forgery was the Anthon transcript, supposedly a copy of characters from the Book of Mormon's golden plates. The church bought it, believing it proved their founding story. But Hofmann's next creation was even more explosive: the Salamander letter. This letter claimed Joseph Smith found the golden plates with the help of a magical white salamander, not an angel. The letter shook the Mormon community, suggesting their faith's origins were rooted in folk magic. Critics saw it as proof of their suspicions. Believers faced a crisis. The church bought the letter, hoping to control the narrative. Steve Christensen, who helped broker the deal, believed it was real and would pay for that belief. Hofmann's forgeries exploited real historical debates, filling gaps with just enough plausibility to be believed. He sold not just documents but stories people desperately wanted or feared to be true. And everyone from church leaders to historians was buying. The stage was set for disaster. Hofmann's ambition and debts grew. He needed a big score, so he invented the McClellan collection, supposedly explosive papers from a disillusioned early Mormon apostle. Rumors swirled that these documents could destroy the church. Hofmann claimed to have them, sparking a frenzy among collectors and church leaders. He promised the collection to multiple buyers, taking advances he couldn't repay. But the McClellan collection didn't exist. Hofmann was selling a ghost, and his lies were catching up to him. Steve Christensen, who'd helped with previous deals, was now demanding delivery. Hofmann stalled, but the pressure mounted. His reputation, freedom, and life were on the line. Trapped and desperate, Hofmann saw only one way out: violence. He needed to buy time and silence those closing in. The web of deception was about to snap, and the consequences would be deadly. Hofmann's next move would change everything. The line between forger and killer was about to vanish. The McClellan collection was the final fatal lie, and Salt Lake City would pay the price. The countdown to tragedy had begun. October 15, 1985. Hofmann's world collapsed. Unable to deliver the McClellan collection, he built a bomb for Steve Christensen. Hours later he sent another bomb to Kathy Sheets, targeting her to create a false trail. The city reeled, police chased business leads, and Hofmann hoped to buy time, but he was still trapped. Scheduled to meet a church leader that day with nothing to show, desperate, he became the victim of his own third bomb, whether by accident or design. Suddenly the focus shifted. The document dealer was now the prime suspect. The police saw the connection. This was about rare Mormon documents, not business revenge. Hofmann's carefully constructed world had exploded, literally. 2 innocent people were dead. The master forger had become a murderer. The city's greatest mystery was unraveling. The truth was darker than anyone imagined. Hofmann's lies had finally caught up with him. And Salt Lake City would never forget the day the bombs went off. The investigation was closing in. Justice was coming. With Hofmann hospitalized, police uncovered his forger's workshop, chemicals, fake documents, and damning evidence. The Anthon transcript, the Salamander letter, exposed as fakes. The community was stunned, especially the Mormon Church, which had paid vast sums for lies. Why were church leaders so easily fooled? Why buy documents that threatened their own story? Critics accused the church of trying to suppress damaging evidence. The church insisted it sought to preserve history. A sensational trial seemed inevitable, one that would force church leaders to testify. But it never happened. Hofmann took a plea deal, guilty to 2 murders and theft by deception, in exchange for life in prison. The case closed quietly, avoiding a public spectacle. Some say the plea protected the church from embarrassment. Others say it guaranteed Hofmann would never walk free. The truth may never be fully known. The Mormon murders ended not with a bang but a whisper. Salt Lake City was left with scars and questions that still linger. The legacy, a chilling reminder of how far one man would go to protect his lies.